Good morning. It is Thursday, August 21st. This is the Automotive State of the Union. I'm Paul J. Daly, and everyone on this podcast is lucky today because we have Steve Greenfield as the co-host. Kyle's on a plane somewhere right now. Good morning, Steve.
Oh, how are you?
You're not on a plane. You're not on a plane, but you're in a hotel.
Hotel in Orlando. Yes, I am.
Orlando. Oh, that's nice this time of year. That's fantastic. I'm going to be in Orlando next week. The end of next week.
I missed you by a week.
I know. Oh, that'll be fun. We could have went on some roller coasters together with Mickey ears. Like that would have been the content the internet really wants. I think. So how's the summer been for you? We've had you on the show, but we're kind of getting the tail end of the summer now. How would you sum it up for yourself?
Luckily enough, I've had a sort of a lapse in travel, but you got to hear this. Like between now and the end of the year, and we are August 21st. I've got 2 separate trips to Ireland. I've got a trip to Berlin. I've got a trip to Vietnam, and I've got a trip to China. So I'm going to be earning those Delta miles. Here we go. And I've got a separate trip to Finland as well. So it's hard to even track all this stuff, but I've got a bunch of international travel coming up, but it's all exciting, all good. Some combination of conferences, investors, and then, finding startups. So
it's a new show. Steve goes global.
Exactly right.
Oh my goodness. I thought it was hard to keep track of you then. Like we're really going to need to build a tracker website. It's like Santa Claus tracker. I mean, I feel like, do you need like a London HQ now? Right?
Like that would be good. Yeah.
Like a little home base.
Do that, Paris and Istanbul, maybe Dubai. I'd be set.
Yeah. Oh, very interesting. Very interesting. All right. Well, good. It's going to be a rip-roaring Q3 and Q4 for Steve's travel. It's going to be so much fun to hear back on all the things you learn and you find, and you always are so nice to bring them back to us. So
yeah, we should do a couple of international segments.
Done. For sure. Count it. Nathan's writing down notes already.
All right.
Hey, everybody, I just want to make sure you know that we did have an amazing webinar yesterday, one of our Soto Edge's webinars. It was the 2025 halftime report with our friends at Wide Whale. We looked at the state of dealer reputation first 6 months of the year. The data is very surprising in some areas. Talk about how brands are comparing to other brands, what dealers can do now to make some mid-game adjustments so that the rest of the year, the reputation scores get better. There's some good news in that report too. So you should check it out. You can go to asotu.com and just fill in the form. We'll send you the recording right away. You'll get all the data, all the things. And it's a lot of fun. So just want to make sure you don't miss that. All right. We have some fun news to talk about. And the summer's kind of weird with automotive news. Sometimes it's dry. People are busy selling cars and on vacations, but I'm starting to feel the uptick back of the motion, that September motion that everybody always looks forward to. Big announcement this week. Hertz partnered with Amazon to list its vehicles on the retail giant's platform, giving customers a new way to shop for former rentals online. It's building on the roughly 1/3 of Hertz vehicle sales that already go directly to consumers. Basically, shoppers can now browse and buy Hertz vehicles on Amazon, then pick them up in Dallas, Houston, LA, or Seattle. They have plans to expand that to 45 U.S. locations. Basically, retail sales at about $1,000 to $1,500 per vehicle for Hertz compared to their wholesale channels. They're also expanding its, quote, try before you buy program to 100 cities and enhancing digital sales through platforms like Carvana and Autotrader. Hertz CEO Gil West said, quote, it's really important as well that we get more net out of what we're selling. So Amazon, Hertz, Amazon's the real story here, right? Not Hertz selling vehicles to consumers.
Well, I think a bit of each. When I was at Manheim 20 years ago, Hertz was one of our customers, and 100% of all their cars that came out of fleet went through Manheim locations, were sent down the auction lanes and sold to dealers. Mm-hmm. And since then, they've diversified, as you just said, quite considerably. They have their own retail branded Hertz stores. They've had relationships in the past with Carvana, and now this Amazon news. I think the big news here, it's easy to dismiss this, right? It's like, oh, this is like not news, but it is news. One is that Amazon has only been selling for Hyundai dealers so far,
and new cars.
Yeah, and new cars. Well, they announced used a couple of weeks ago, but now you've got a separate seller, and the auction should be taking notes here. If consigners like Hertz, if sellers like Hertz can sell directly to consumers, which is what they want, like you just said, they want to have higher pricing, then it is a threat to the auctions. Other sellers, if Amazon's successful, will bypass the auctions and sell directly to consumers through either Amazon or Carvana or whatever you might have. And it changes the dynamics because a lot of dealers rely on these 2-year-old vehicles, whether they're off lease or coming out of rental. Think of CarMax, for example, right? I don't know what percentage of the cars that they sell at their sites that are off lease or off rental cars, but it's not insignificant. And if those dry up because they sell directly to consumers in the future, then dealers in general, whether I'm a franchise dealer or whether I'm an independent dealer, there's gonna be fewer cars for you to stock on your lots. So in some ways, these commercial sellers trying to find efficiency, i.e. getting closer to retail pricing and bypassing wholesale, is problematic, because dealers might, in a couple of years say, wait, hold on a second, what happened to the 2 or 3 year old car? Imagine if off lease cars start selling directly to consumers.
Which would be another much clearer pipeline. I think taking those used cars out of the dealer's market is going to be impactful if it really catches on. I think there's still a few hurdles that they need to jump. One, in my mind, just because I come from a reconditioning background, is the reconditioning. How do you disclose? Like Carvana does a great job of disclosing vehicle condition on their site, but they're the ones that have the cars in their hands. They have the technology, they have the ability to shoot it, they have their framework, and they've built the trust of people to say that is how I'm going to get the car, and if not, Carvana will make it right. I think there is some opportunity for companies like ACV and people to give a third-party condition report that validate its physical condition in the same way that Carfax does. I'm sure they have this try before you buy program, or they have this money back guarantee, but no one ever really wants to deal with that. Right. That's a very complicated thing. What do they do with the trades? Are there trades, right? How are they going to take the car in? Hertz doesn't want to trade, that's for sure.
No. Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. The consumer who's buying on Amazon is going to want Amazon's stamp of approval around the condition of the car. And full disclosure, if it wasn't an accident, obviously, if any damage.
Yeah, the Carfax stuff, yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, but it begs the question, right? So if there is going to be a third party, you mentioned ACV, that puts their stamp of approval on it, you could have an Amazon condition report powered by who? Kelley Blue Book?
Yeah.
ACV? Carfax. What's going to resonate most with consumers? Probably one of these consumer-facing brands. I don't know. With all due respect to the ACV guys, they have an awesome brand, awesome company. But
it's not a retail-facing brand,
right? But a KBB or Carfax-powered Amazon condition report could really resonate and imbue a lot of trust for the consumer, and they may be more likely to click the buy button, knowing that somebody's standing behind the condition of the vehicle.
I also think of companies like UVI, who now has partnered with Hertz to do the vehicle scanning and the condition scanning, where you can actually disclose, give good imagery, and have a history on it as well. So just like everything, right? Something changes means there's opportunity for somebody and there's a challenge for somebody else. So, it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. I'm also thinking, like, when does Amazon start offering financing?
Right.
You know, I mean, they know your purchase history. They know probably more about every consumer than just about any other platform out there.
Well, it's a great point. So I think the contemplation so far has been having dealer-friendly financing. The dealer can effectively surface their financing sources through Amazon.com. But when Hertz sells a car on Amazon, to your point, who's going to offer the financing?
Yeah, I don't think Hertz really wants to be married to that car anymore. They want to say goodbye and get on with their rental business.
Exactly right. So Amazon could offer an Amazon-branded financing source, which probably would not include a dealership in that transaction.
Probably not. Talking about dealerships, though. It's a new one.
Segue.
You said you were going to Vietnam. I don't know. Does that have something to do with VinFast? Maybe, but VinFast US dealership network is taking shape in the grand opening of its very first California franchise location in San Diego. The new store is operated by Sunroad Automotive Group. They offer sales service, test drives of the VF8, the VF9, which are electric SUVs. The automaker is planning to replace all 15 of its former company-owned California stores and now operates nearly 30 authorized dealerships across 14 states, with the company, quote, recognizing the distinct advantages of this distribution channel, to which everyone over here applauds. California remains a key focus for the brand, which calls the state a top priority for EV growth, also making sense. The new location has full support for warranty repair, maintenance using genuine VinFast parts. Here's a quote from Mike Nolte, VinFast US VP of Sales and Marketing. He said, "This event marks a pivotal moment in our strategy." So VinFast leaning into the dealer network and opening in California.
Yeah, and juxtapose that against when they launched here and they brought the first 1,000 vehicles into the country. Their intent was to sell directly to the consumer, build a consumer brand, not have dealers, et cetera. So they flipped entirely, which is good, which is great. I mean, I think that they struggled and failed with the average consumer not knowing what this brand is. So having local dealers in their local markets that know the consumers, that can market to the consumers and bring them in makes total sense to me. I don't think they would have succeeded trying to build a consumer brand. I mean, we've seen the billions of dollars that the parent company VinFast has lost at home trying to fund this thing to get the economic engine. I mean, they're selling a lot of these back in the Vietnamese market, but not internationally yet. I think that the cars so far, with all due respect, have been challenged for the spec that we need here in the US.
Yeah.
The range hasn't been
range
long.
for sure.
Quality issues. So, but with the first iteration, I think of the first iteration of the Hyundais that came into the market, they were horrible cars. And
Subarus too.
Subarus too. Look, exactly. Yeah, they were rust buckets, right? So
yeah, they were.
Look where we are now, and I think that have some patience, but a good signal that they've embraced the dealer network. They understand that that's the path that really unlock growth, and we'll see how this brand emerges in the U.S.
Yeah, and really needing a head start for when Chinese vehicles will eventually make their way to U.S. lots. I know a lot of folks predicting that that's going to happen sometime, or we're going to hear more about that in the next 12 months about some major Chinese investment in U.S. state. I can't remember who it was. One of the gentlemen you had at your China summit, he wrote a piece and he made a prediction that he predicts that within
by Q4. Yeah, Michael Dunn from Dunn Insights. And
Michael Dunn. That's
anyone
what it
who
is.
doesn't subscribe to Michael Dunn, DUNNE, highly recommended. Very smart. Probably the foremost expert globally on the Chinese brands. And yeah, he recently, as of last week, said that he's kind of betting that by Q4, Donald Trump will ink some sort of deal with Chinese automakers, and they'll start producing cars here in the U.S. By Q4, that'll be announced, and we'll see. I mean, interesting.
I mean, it was so specific.
Yeah.
Right. Like the prediction was so specific. It's one
Michael's
of those,
an insider. Michael's an insider.
He knows something. And I believe he said it will be a multi-billion-dollar investment in a southern state to make the vehicles here. Yeah. And so, I mean, so it's good that VinFast has their head start. I mean, they've had a head start. Now let's see if they can get it to ground. But I mean, this is all just one big roller coaster that you are paying attention to probably more than anybody else, and aggregating some information and connecting the right people, right? Michael Dunn is now part of the conversation.
There we go.
All right. Last but not least, let's talk about something that's a little more in the future, but not maybe so much. It's a combination of AI and robotics and automotive. All right, let's roll the video. I'm going to let this video roll, and this is a video of a humanoid robot from Boston Dynamics, as I'm going to read the information so we can watch the video, and we're going to see this robot just moving things from bin to bin parts while they're trying to mess him up. Basically, Boston Dynamics and Toyota Research Institute are working to make humanoid robots useful in real life by teaching them complex, adaptable behaviors through massive AI models. So a lot of people are familiar with Boston Dynamics, but Toyota Research Institute, which is a Toyota subsidiary focused on human-centered AI innovations in automated driving, energy, and materials to do what they say, improve the human condition. So this Atlas robot, if you're watching, you can see is being trained with a large behavioral model to handle all these tasks. And we see it squatting, bending over, putting parts from one bin into another. It's going to be arranging them on shelves in a moment. A single policy now enables Atlas to complete multi-step manipulation tasks like packing, sorting, and handling large objects, with the team saying, quote, "If you can demonstrate it, the robot can learn it." So it learns by watching. What do you think of this robot we're watching, Steve?
I think we shouldn't be tormenting our robot overlords.
They are. So that's a good point. So there's this very, very patient robot who's moving parts from one bin to another, while there's somebody with a hockey stick, very Canadian, coming in and closing the bin, dragging the bin away from the robot. And the robot, like, it does feel like when the robot sees that something's changed, there's like a minute thought in there where he says, "Will you please stop doing that? I'm trying to get something done."
It won't be long before he neutralizes the threat.
And the robot says, "If you do that one more time,
I'm
gonna put you in this bin."
in the bin, yeah. But hey, look, I mean, if you look at where Elon's going with Tesla, like, he's betting less on the adoption of EVs and more on two things, AI and robotics. He says with his Optimus robots, there's a market for 1 million of these things a year. And he believes that at volume, the price will come down to 30 grand each. And there should be a humanoid robot in everybody's home, right? To do all those tasks like we're seeing here, repetitive tasks that we don't want to do. Load the dishwasher, unload the dishwasher, do laundry for us, mow the lawn, anything around the house that takes up your time that's of low value. that you don't want to do, these robotic, sort of humanoids should be able to do. Whether we get there, I don't know, but I can tell you there's a whole bunch of these companies emerging also in China. You guys covered, like recently there's been like these Chinese Olympics over there to prove out just the limits of these robots, these humanoid robots. And this technology is all coming. And you layer that into like the AI brain that we're all experimenting through with like ChatGPT, et cetera. And it can be, equal amounts of like exhilarating and exciting, but also pretty scary if these things do get smart. There's all kinds of bad applications. For example, you deploy them on the battlefield and they go house to house, they clean out the humans, right, that we don't want, and eradicate the humans. So there's a lot of debate right now about sort of like the ethics around AI, and both in the workplace, but also like, with other countries around the world that might not hold themselves to the same sort of ethical compass that the US would.
Yeah. I mean, if I wasn't terrified enough when we started the show, like thought of that little robot dog going house to house with that gun turret on its top, like knock, knock, knock. I mean, but that isn't science fiction, actually.
No
it's
longer.
reality. And there are things. I was watching this video this morning. I was still home, and I saw this video for the first time, and I just kind of like started to think, like, would I ever have a robot in my house? Right. And you start to think like, oh, well, it could be like the euphoric part of it is like, I wake up and the house is clean. Right. It wasn't when I went to sleep, but it was when I woke up. And then the next thought was like, I've also seen videos of what happens like when the robot freaks out. Right. It falls over and it just starts violently swinging and driving. And you imagine being asleep and then just hear this massive commotion, right? And then there's this big hole in the back glass patio door, and the robot just ran out the back door and jumped over the deck or something. I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm ready for that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's coming. I mean, we started maybe with the Roomba, but yeah, I think it's inevitable that we'll have a lot of robots in our lives, and it'll make life easier. But like you said, we've got to like be very cautious around how quickly we adopt these things.
Yeah, I'm just excited that, when you and I, decades from now, we're going to be able to have our like strap-on exoskeletons. So we're going to be able to get around and get in our self-driving car and have all the mobility we ever wanted. So they're the parts I'm excited about. We'll leave the rest to other people to try to figure out and defend.
We'll be getting on roller coasters in Disney when we're 100.
Yes.
There you go.
Together, you and me, Mickey Mouse ears.
Let's do it.
Steve Greenfield, thank you so much for joining us today. Enjoy some sunshine in Orlando. Everyone else, get out there. Take care of the humans in your life, right? The humans are going to be the one that are really worth it. We'll see you here tomorrow.